The best coverage of the Jazz, Utes, and Cougars is right here on The Zone. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Ska Day 2025. I know it feels like
I feel like it's Warped Tour here in the studio today.
This is terrible, too. Who is this?
Well, that's
Goldfinger.
Goldfinger.
Yeah.
Superman. This is actually a pop hit. I think this made the Billboard charts.
Do another thing I can. Hit me with the horns. No, we didn't lose our fantasy league and be forced to play ska bands all day. No. This is just what JJ loves to hear every day. Some Goldfinger.
I have not moved on from 2001.
No, man. No. Like I said yesterday, like put on some soothing tones of ska, watch some Van Wilder.
Yeah. I think I'll listen to Suicide Machines on my way home today. I'm 47 years old.
Why not? Hey, I wanted to make you to remember that our program is brought to you by G2G Bars. All natural ingredients, no preservatives. Make the G2G Bar the perfect protein bar. Give it a shot today. Costco, Holiday Oil, Maverick, Associated Foods, and many other places in the refrigerated section wherever they sell fine protein bars. There you go. Let's kick off the cut here. We've got Jay Stevens, host of the Utah Puck Report, joining us on the program here. Let's get to the cut right now.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
And, of course, this portion of the show brought to you by the good folks at Trajan Wealth, TRAJANwealth.com for all your trusted local needs in retirement, TrajanWealth.com. JJ, Jay Stevens joins us on the program again, and, of course, he's the host of the Utah Puck Report. Jay, welcome to the program. You've been making some pretty fine picks across the board on these games so far. Are you feeling lucky on Game 6?
I've been getting pretty lucky so far. I didn't expect to be, as lucky as I have been on picking them out. Yeah. I mean, I think I've got a pretty good read of the games, but I don't know how I pulled the last two games off. But I do have a read for tonight's game. It's already starting to form out how I thought it would kind of form out. So I'm going with it. It ends tonight, and it's going to be a 5-2 final.
Boom. You heard it here first.
5-2 final. These have been high-scoring games, it feels like. Lots of goals being scored. Is that kind of just is it me, or are there a lot more goals being scored maybe in this final? Or I don't know, is hockey – is scoring now something that we're seeing at a clip that wasn't in the past? Or – where are we kind of historically on where these scores? It seems like every game there's 7 goals now.
Yeah, it seems like we're getting back to, 80s style hockey. But in the mid-90s, when you had like Jean-Sébastien Giguère playing for the Ducks and Martin Brodeur was in the net for the Devils in the championship, you were getting like 1-0, 2-1 games nonstop. So, and the goaltending was great. The goalie's gear was huge. This series, I think you're seeing two of the best offensive teams that have been around in a long time. And I've said it before, I think this Florida team that we're seeing is probably right up there with the 80s Oilers and, the early 80s Islanders even. They're just built for offense, and they're so deep. And then you add Marchand to that third line where you basically have a guy that's been a first-line player forever, and he's on the third line now, and you can't match that. The depth is just overwhelming at some point. So we're just getting all these crazy goals. But yeah, I think it's more fun this way. I think it's definitely more fun for, a lot of the Utah audience that's new to playoff hockey to see some of these high-scoring games.
The Oilers are going to turn back to Skinner in goal in a must-win Game 6. You're well qualified to answer my question. At what point are the Oilers just getting in the heads of these goalies and they're just doing more harm than good?
Yeah, they've definitely done more harm than good with their goaltenders. I wasn't as upset with the way, I'm a proud goalie, so I think all goalies is, my people. So I hate to see when coaches mess with my people. And it seems like the entire playoff run, we saw what happened in Dallas, but Edmonton, it wasn't as bad because I feel like it kind of led up to that with with their pulling Skinner and they're putting Pickard in, and Pickard's playing well, and it made you feel like maybe Pickard could have the better shot at this, but in reality, it's not like you were getting bad play out of Skinner. He's giving up goals, and he's giving up 4 or 5 goals a game, but they're not on easy shots. These are on breakaways, wide open back doors, power play goals. So it hasn't been the goaltending problem. I think it's just been a problem with Edmonton's defense not getting good reads on Florida's offense and how quick Florida's offense is going for every puck and trying to win every battle. So it's not as bad to me as that Dallas series, but anytime you get pulled as a goalie, it messes with your head a little bit. And anytime the other guy gets to start over you, especially in playoffs, it messes with your head. And goaltending is so mental. That's why they say we're all weird and that we're mental, right? Because it's a really weird position to play. You're a team sport, but you're out there by yourself. And any little thing like that really can start to mess with your game.
From a historical standpoint, how good is this Florida Panthers team? Like, as we start to look at other teams' names who've been etched on the on Lord Stanley's Cup, if they're able to go back to back here, and just kind of thinking about how they've put together such a good roster, and they've been so dominant. It's like people knew Florida was going to be. It's hard to predict, but people knew Florida was going to be back.
Yeah, and, I've been saying for 4 years in a row now, I've been saying Florida's going to be in the championship. Florida's going to be in the championship. And here they are, their third consecutive championship with the chance to win their second cup in a row. They're built like no other team I've ever seen. Even back in the days with the Gretzky, Kirry, Messier rosters, those teams were great. They had great goaltending, and they had 2 solid lines, and then they had 2 really good support lines. Florida is 4 really good lines where you get to the point where you're like, okay, you've got Tkachuk and Bennett on line 2. Barkov, who's probably one of, if not the most well-rounded player in the NHL, who is completely selfless out there as he's your first line center. But then you look at line 3, that's Losartan and Lundell and Marchand. You're like, man, they just keep coming at you. And then their fourth line's still getting goals. So I truly believe this will go down as one of the best teams in the history of the NHL. And I know I'll get some grief for saying that on the radio, but it's true, and the proof's in the pudding.
If it happens as you predict and the Oilers lose tonight and they don't win this cup, it's 2 in a row where people thought they were probably at least had the most star power, right? You have the 2 best players on the planet. I think we could all debate that, but it probably come to an agreement on that with Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid. If they fall short again, where do they go? What do they do?
I think there'll be a little bit of tweaking. I wouldn't be surprised to see them go out and try to get a different goaltender. And I think with Boston rebuilding right now, you could put together something to go get Swayman. But and then we got to keep in mind, Zach Hyman got hurt before this series. And he's the type of player that would have balanced out these lines a little bit better. And that would prevent Edmonton from having to, they keep going. Like Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is in and out of the lineup because he's been hurt. And so they put Connor McDavid, and then they put Draisaitl with McDavid, with Perry. And that just throws your whole lines off. That takes your depth away. And it's just been one of those things where you just wonder if they had Zach Hyman and they were healthy, because, we're seeing Corey Perry. That's the other crazy thing about this series is you're seeing Corey Perry at 40 and Marchand at 37 lead the teams in scoring and make these amazing plays. But, yeah, you wanted to see Corey Perry on, line 2 and have Hyman up there to match those lines better. So I would expect to see some panic out of Edmonton, knowing that that window is closing now. I can see, you're right. They have 2 of the best players in the world. What is known as, McDavid is supposed to be the best player in the world. And when you watch him play, it's hard not to kind of forget to breathe when he gets the puck, because you're just so mesmerized by the things he does and how fast he's doing them at the level with the best players in the world. He makes everybody else look like they're in slow motion, but the window's closing. So I could see them, getting a little more desperate, trading a couple guys and trying to just blame everything on goaltending and go get, I think Swayman would be the guy they would go after.
As you watch this thing kind of go down, in terms of the actual play and the actual Stanley Cup final. And is hockey at the best spot that it's been as a sport in terms of the level of competition, the parity? We always talk about how good the playoffs are in the NHL versus some of these other leagues, and it delivered again, it seems like. But what is it? Where is the game right now, and compared to how it's been in the past and kind of where it's headed?
Yeah, I think the game's exploding right now, and I think, especially adding Utah to the mix. When we added Utah, there was a lot more, people eyes on the game, and people wanting to see, even not just in Utah, but around the country and around the world. People were like, hey, what's going on with the NHL? And they started watching, they started paying more attention. They wanted to see what would happen with this Utah team, would it bomb or not? And then you got the World Nation, or the Four Nations games, and they were all over the sports world just blew up with how good that tournament was. And everybody saw that U.S.-Canada game, and this is supposed to be like an all-star break, and you got a line brawl in one of these all-star games, and it's just kept picking up momentum from there. So yeah, I think the NHL's in the driver's seat right now as far as the major sports go. You're not getting as much growth or excitement over the NBA, and people are complaining about the NFL and kickoffs and all the other stuff that you hear people complaining about. In the meantime, everybody's like, hey, we want our town to get an NHL team. Atlanta, Houston, Portland, Quebec. Everybody's trying to get a team now because it's the sport to watch. People are realizing it. It's fast. It's beautiful. It's violent. It's whatever you want it to be. And we're peaking right now. You're seeing the best players that have ever played the game, and they all happen to be in the Stanley Cup final.
Well, after tonight, we could officially start an off-season tomorrow in the NHL, and it's going to be a fun one for the Utah Mammoth. And you look ahead to the draft, free agency, all the options they have this off-season to make a splash and to build this roster and build this team and try to get to the playoffs next year. But the draft is obviously first on that list. And I pulled up the Athletics mock draft. They got a brand new one today, and I looked down at number 4, and they've got Brady Martin going to the Utah Mammoth. If that happens, what do you think about that, especially when you consider there's a lot of other prospects that were rated a lot higher than him that would be available, and they would take Martin instead?
Yeah, okay, that happened last year, right? They took Iginla. Iginla was ranked as a 10 to 13, 14 round, or 14th pick overall, and there were some really talented players that they passed up to get Iginla. I know they like this Martin kid. I've looked at all his tapes. He does kind of fit with what we need right now. But the only way we draft Martin with our first pick is if we've traded the 4th overall pick for another player and moved back a few steps. I know that goes against what everybody else is seeing and feeling right now, but I'm telling you, there's just the top 5 ranked players are just too good to pass up. And when you can pick that high, you expect a guy that's going to make the lineup this upcoming season. And I still don't think they pass on Porter Martone or Higgins if they're available. I just can't see it happening. Again, I was completely wrong with Bill Armstrong last year, but I don't see that Martin kid being worth passing up the other guys that are there. I know he's great, but I can see them saying, hey, we'll trade that 4th pick for a guy that could play right now, and then we'll pick Martin with the 9th or 10th pick if they trade with Pittsburgh or Boston. I went through every roster. I went through every draft pick that's available. I've got an article coming out tomorrow with the podcast that drops tomorrow where we talk about all this, and I put hours into it, and I just can't see it going that way. I just see him the only way we pick that kid is if we trade the 4th overall pick.
So I'll also mention in this mock draft, they have James Higgins falling to 8 and Porter Martone falling to 9, which was really eye-opening to me, is because those guys are, like you say, those should be top 5 prospects. How much of this do you think is like a smokescreen that's being put out there by some of these GMs? It is lying season.
Yeah, it definitely is. I feel like it is a smokescreen. Some people go to the combine and they really do, increase their worth. Very few go in and bomb it, right? These are high-performance athletes at the prime. They're 18 years old. They're going to play really well, and you're not going to see guys typically drop that much. What you do get is GMs trying to get people to look the other way and not pay attention to what's going on behind the curtain because they know the guys they want. They're their staffs, especially the staff that Utah has on scouting and recruiting, they trust those guys, and they've built an amazing program that we have right now. So I think it is a little bit of deception. Like, I know they like the Martin kid, but he's not our fourth pick. So I just think they're trying to get people to look the other way. So you're right, definitely lying season.
Jay Stevens, host of the Utah Puck Report, podcast, of course, focusing on all things hockey. And, of course, here in the state of Utah, we've been just transfixed with the whole playoffs, and the Stanley Cup Finals are there. And do teams disassemble after wins? I mean, obviously, Florida had a lot of the same pieces, but, I mean, like, is it a lot like some of these other leagues that they just look and they go, hey, you know what? We won a couple of titles. This thing's going to get broken down here, and we can't afford to keep this whole group together.
Yeah, that definitely happens. That happened to the LA Kings. That happened to the Vegas Golden Knights just 3 years ago. They weren't able to keep their players. Players get more and more expensive. You look at a guy like I've been singing the praises of, hoping that Utah would go after, like Sam Bennett. And Sam Bennett's due for a pretty big raise coming off this. He's up for the Conn Smythe right now as the best player in playoffs. And I think he's going to be going up against Marchand. And those are two unrestricted free agents on Florida that they're going to have to figure out how to pay. And keeping in mind they've got two other unrestricted free agents and some RFAs coming up, and then they've got their biggest names coming up the year after. So, yeah, you can't – the NHL is strict on the salary cap. There's a little loophole if you put guys on long-term injury, but other than that, it's really strict. So it's almost impossible after you win a Stanley Cup. Everybody wants a winner, right? So if you've got an unrestricted free agent, somebody else wants that experience on their roster, like Utah. I mean, you look at the guys we have with Sergachev and Ian Cole and Ole Mata and guys that have cups. That you want that in your locker room. And if you can just go take them from another team that can't afford to keep them, you're going to have 31 other teams coming after your guys.
$20 million in cap space for the Utah Mammoth this summer, and you mentioned it. The Florida Panthers have a lot of nice free agents, but all the people we talk to that cover that team feel like the Panthers can keep some of those guys. Mitch Marner's the big name out there. We know he's not going back to Toronto. If some of these things don't work out, like if you can't draw some of those Panther players here, where should they go? Is Mitch Marner the right fit? I mean, you mentioned Sam Bennett. I don't know how you pry him away from Florida with what they have going on, but have you identified some? And I assume you're looking for some frontline guys up front that would be the priority. Are there some guys out there, even if they don't hit the big money guys, that could really help this team move forward?
Yeah, there are a lot of players out there, and when everybody talks about, if you really go after Marner, you got to realize Marner is unrestricted, so he gets to pick.
Yeah,
and this is a guy that's trying to, rebuild his name. He's just gotten, he takes all the heat in Toronto, so yeah, he's going to be the main guy that everybody's after. I think he's going to be picky. I think he's going to try to find. Probably even take less money to go with a team that's supposed to make it next year. I can see him ending up in Vegas or Colorado or somewhere that's going to get creative with trying to pick him up. But there are guys out there that we can get to bring that experience with us. Another guy from Toronto is John Tavares, who's going to be cheaper, probably, maybe depends on what he's, because he's older. Matt Duchene, who, kind of underperformed this year, is a guy that you could go after and pick up for probably $3 to $4 million. Nick Ehlers keeps coming up for Utah. Michael Granlund keeps coming up for Utah. These are guys we can get for less money, probably around $5 million for those guys. And they have that experience that you're looking for, and they're great players. And you can add them in to increase the depth at center. That's the main thing we need right now, is just to increase our depth at center as the rest of the Mammoth players develop. So there are ways to be aggressive and not, spend the whole pocketbook.
Jay Stevens, Utah Puck Report is where you can listen to his podcast. You've got another one dropping today, you said, or tomorrow? When can people listen to the newest episode?
It'll drop tomorrow night, I believe, and it's a two-parter, but it definitely covers. I got Fulta on, who's play-by-play for the Utah Mammoth, and we're going to get into all the free agents, restricted free agents, what could happen. I talked about it a little bit last week with Adrian Denny, and we're gonna break it all down for you.
We appreciate it. Wait, give us that score again tonight. Was it 5-2 Florida, and this thing, the Lord Stanley's Cup gets raised up tonight?
5-2 Florida. Bennett will get the Conn Smythe.
Wow,
Take
look
it
at that.
one step further.
Not Marchand?
No, it could be Marchand, but I just think the book of work Bennett's put in just has to be respected, and it could go either way, but I'm going to go with Bennett.
Okay, there you go. Jay Stevens, everybody. Jay, we appreciate it, man. We'll chat with you again.
All right, thanks, guys.
There you go.
I do think it's down to those guys, Sam Bennett and Brad Marchand, assuming, of course, that the Panthers close it out tonight in 6 or in 7.
But here's the thing:
if the Panthers win the cup,
how many
one
goals
of those guys
is
get it.
how many goals does Sam Bennett have in the?
This was like
in the
13.
Stanley Cup
What is he?
final?
What's he up to now?
In the playoffs is like 13, but Brad Marchand has because the Conn Smythe is it for the whole playoffs?
It's a postseason award, right?
Yeah, but Marchand has 6 goals in this
I know.
series.
It's a great debate, and those two have been amazing.
He personally, you felt like won a couple of these games by himself. So,
Yeah, I don't think they. Yeah, I think what he did in Game 5 was incredible, and obviously, overtime winners. He's been great. What a great pickup, and it shows you that even when a team is the champ, they try to make themselves even better at trade deadline. That's about going all in. That's what you got to do to win a cup, and it's there. You go.
So
It's
Sam
15.
Bennett's got 15.
I was shorting him by 2.
Marchand has 10, but he has the most in the final. He's got 6. I mean, that's insane. I don't know. I have a little. Sam Bennett's been phenomenal, but I got a little soft spot for Brad Marchand. Did I say that too French? Marchand?
People in Toronto don't have a soft spot for him.
No, they do not.
He beat the. He's ended the Maple Leafs season like
by
5
himself.
times in his career,
And it's like, and it was like
including this year.
Yeah. No, I think
crazy.
I think he's 7-0. It was something.
It's nuts.
Yeah, it's bonkers. Okay.
He's not allowed in Toronto.
We'll take a break. We'll come back. We've got our NFL Blitz around the corner. You don't want to miss that. We've got tons still to chat about. By the way, I want to remind you that you can nominate the Youth Sports Volunteer for the Hercules Hero of the Week Award. The way you do that is submit the nomination at kslsports.com/contest. People who do an awesome job volunteering for youth sports in your community. It might be that team mom, could be that assistant coach, could be that head coach that just goes above and beyond. And you want to honor them by nominating them and having their story told on our program every Thursday. And they get a prize from Hercules First Federal Credit Union and Beehive Meals. So there you go. KSLSports.com/contest. Let's go to the break. We'll have some traffic at the bottom of the hour here, and then we will get right back, and we will get you to that NFL Blitz. Stay right here, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All the latest news and notes from the league and the locals in the NFL. JJ and Alex bring you the NFL Blitz on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Thanks for being with us on the program. We appreciate you being a part of the show. If you ever want to download any portion of a show that you missed across the entirety of the KSL Sports Zone all day long, if it's DJ and PK, if it's Jake and Ben, if it's Hanson Scotty, if it's JJ and myself, we have them for you archived every day. Just click on the podcast button on the KSL Sports page. You can get yourself dialed in with that, and you can make sure that you have everything all set for you when next time you get in your car, listen to whatever you want. So there you go. KSLSports.com or wherever podcasts are found. Where do you find those these days, JJ?
Anywhere and everywhere.
All right.
Everyone has a podcast.
Yes. Oh, what was the one earlier?
Somebody on a bus.
No, Bussin' with the Boys. Woo! Hey, come on my podcast. Yeah, what's the name of it? Bussin' with the Boys. Can't wait. JJ, here's what we got here. If you're listening in, by the way, the top 100 players in the NFL. We do these lists, by the way. We have these lists. We do all these lists. Now, the one that is rated by the by the players, we tend to give a little bit more weight to, obviously.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But I will say that those lists don't come without their fragilities also, right? Some of their
I mean, just
foibles.
in the NBA, for instance,
Tyrese
Halliburton voted most overrated.
Yeah, that's just
and Rudy Gobert has been in the past, but
Right.
we know both those players are exceptionally good.
That's just guys with beefs against those dudes, right? I don't know
Which
how
is weird.
I don't know how Tyrese Halliburton.
Like, how does the club work in the NBA? Like, who's in and who's out? Why do these guys get picked
well,
on?
that being said, I think Rudy would. If I was in the club, I'd have him out too. He seems like a weird dude.
Is Tyrese Halliburton weird?
Probably. His dad probably shows up at the functions.
What is it, like LeBron and KD get together and say, you're a nerd, you suck, you're cool. Then Anthony Edwards gives everybody a middle finger.
Oh my gosh, Anthony Edwards went scorched earth on KD. Blankety blank that guy. I'm going to sweep that blankety
Are you
blank.
sure that's true?
I saw a screenshot.
Or is that one of those made up? I don't think that's real. It's funny, though.
But it should be.
But it sounds like something he would do.
I think KD retweeted whatever the fake tweet was, though, too, just to be like.
Of course he did. Maybe as one of his burners did.
I hope that Anthony Edwards makes a beef with KD. Because what I hate is people photoshopping KD's body on all the jerseys. You know what I mean?
I hate that.
Gives false hope. When they hit the team, I get it.
10 years ago, like when he picked Brooklyn, I get it. I get
Yes.
it. And because he was in his prime. Now, I mean, how many teams really want him? And
He's
how
still
is he going to be the best player on the team that wants him?
Yeah, he would be on a lot of teams.
This is how it works. You
27 points
get
a game.
old.
27 points a game still.
I know he's great. Is he? Where does he fit? I don't know.
Long two-pointer.
He's got 1 year left in his contract. You're renting him for 1 year.
Yeah. All right. The NFL's top 100 as voted by Pete Prisco from CBS Sports. You ready for this?
Yeah.
So I'm just going to go top 10. So just outside the top 10, just to see who got slighted, because you want to see who's top 10 and then who's right outside of it. So number 11 is TJ Watt. That's wild, because he also has Micah Parsons in front of TJ Watt. Would you do that? Would you put Micah Parsons in front of TJ Watt? TJ Watt's been more productive.
Yes. I think that Micah Parsons is. If you were going to trade straight across, can I pick this one or the other? I would go with Micah Parsons at this point in his career, not to slight TJ Watt.
Well,
Incredible.
TJ Watt was number 5 on this list last year, for example. So apparently he fell off down to 11.
He's had some injuries. I get it. Like you're really splitting hairs here. These are incredible players.
Yeah. Micah Parsons 10. Hey, look who's at 9. Patrick Surtain the second. Oh.
I like it. Denver might have the best defense in the AFC this year.
His ability to lock down receivers impacting Denver's defense in a huge way. NFL Defensive Player of the Year for a reason. He was number 25 last year. That moved him all the way up to 9. Jamar Chase, he's got it 8. Wow. Joe Burrow, he's got it 7.
Yeah.
You've got a 7 and 8 in Cincinnati, and right now you have no shot in our minds to go anywhere in the playoffs.
I know, right?
That's like it's something like a Rutgers starting lineup trying to get to the NCAA tournament right here. Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, 7 and 8 on this list. Joe Burrow, by the way, last year was number 15. Lamar Jackson, 6. I don't hate that. I like that he's above Joe Burrow. I think he's
I would have him above Joe Burrow as well.
He's so consistent. So consistent. He's turned into an absolute consistent year in, year out in the conversation. Lamar Jackson at 6. Justin Jefferson at 5. Josh Allen at 4. You go with that? League MVP.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Saquon cracks the top 5. The first time that a running back has been in the top 5 on this particular list for Pete Prisco in the last 9 seasons. And he wasn't even rated. Yeah, that's right. He wasn't even rated on the top 100 last year of Pete Prisco's list, and he's number 3 now. What a difference a year makes.
Yes.
How about rushing for 2,000 yards? I mean, that'll do it.
How about jumping over a guy backwards? That'll do it.
That'll also do it. Now, say what you will, Myles Garrett's number 2, and I have no problem with it. The guy is an absolute terror.
But he plays for the Browns.
And that's why he's number 2. Because even playing for the Browns, you can suddenly turn the game on its head. And that guy singularly can make his team better from down to down. And he's a beast. He's just an absolute beast. Patrick Mahomes keeps his crown at number 1 on the list. He was number 1 last year. You good with Patrick Mahomes still being number 1 on this list?
Yeah, I am.
He's
but
still the best in the game?
It's slipping.
You got Lamar.
I think that there's guys
you got Joe Burrow.
hot on his tail. I think you just mentioned the 3 guys there in the top 10 are right there with him. I think Mahomes losing a Super Bowl and having, I don't know. It wasn't like, especially if you play fantasy football, he didn't have an incredible statistical year. So is there some slippage there? Does that have to do more with the personnel on that team? They were lacking when it came to weapons, and it cost them in the Super Bowl.
It is kind of interesting because he still is just so he's got to be the most. Here's the reason I think this is big. He's got to be the most feared quarterback who comes into a stadium on any given Sunday, right? Like everyone looks at him and goes, "Gosh, this guy's gonna freaking do something weird, and he's gonna make it happen. He's gonna do something funky, and it's gonna get us." And I don't think you can say the same thing necessarily about Josh Allen. Josh Allen has had great numbers, but I don't think he strikes the same type of fear. And he hasn't done anything big, right? He hasn't won the big game. He hasn't beaten Patrick Mahomes when it matters, right?
Yeah.
He can't beat Lamar Jackson when it matters. Although they beat him this year. But
two things
because Mark Andrews dropped it. Where's Mark Andrews on the list?
No.
Nowhere to be found, brother.
2 things I want to mention on this list. Where's Jalen Hurts?
I am actually I'm fascinated that he did not. I'm fascinated that he didn't do it. I'm fascinated that he didn't put him on the top 10.
Do you know where he put him?
Oh, I didn't even look.
I'll tell you. I've got it right here.
21?
52.
Are you kidding me?
No. He's got him behind Quinn Miners.
What's the
Look,
argument?
I love Quinn Miners.
What's the argument?
As a Bronco lineman. I don't know. He just won a Super Bowl. I don't know.
He was the best player in that game too.
Would you put him ahead of Justin Herbert?
Listen, on a list where we just put Joe Burrow,
would you put him
and
ahead of
Jamar
Zach
Chase?
Bond?
Of course,
a player on his own team.
He's an automatic top 20.
Bijan Robinson?
Yes. I don't think he's an automatic top 20. Go to the top 25 and see who's 25 to 20.
Would you put him ahead of Jaden Daniels?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Jaden Daniels was 33.
What on earth are we doing?
And what?
Pete
Jaden
Prisco?
Daniels is at 33.
Is this guy like a closet Cowboys fan? Is that what's going on?
Also,
do you think that's what it is?
I got another one for you. Where would you put Matthew Stafford?
Probably he's a little bit older, but he's still producing. I'd say he's probably a lower 30s, maybe upper 20s.
Not on the list.
Oh, boy. Our producer, Alex, just lost it. He just lost it. Oh, boy. Yeah. So it's crazy. It's crazy.
It's an interesting list, and it drives some conversation.
Well, it just got that list just got made. That list just got made totally irrelevant by putting Jalen Hurts at 52. I mean, my heavens. Here's the more insulting thing. Maybe he's a closet Eagles fan and he goes, "I'm going to put him far down the list."
Just
you know
to
why?
hope he reads it.
I'm going to get him fired up because at 52, that means there's probably 10 quarterbacks ahead of him, right?
Yeah.
If we're being conservative, and if you just named off the list of quarterbacks, you just said Jaden Daniels. Absolutely, he's better than Jaden Daniels right now. That was Jaden Daniels' rookie season. It was phenomenal. He did awesome. He didn't win the freaking Super Bowl. All right. Sorry.
Several locals made the list. Fred Warner at 19. Penei Sewell, 21.
Okay.
I'll try to quickly go through here and identify all of them. Bobby Wagner at 88.
Is Rashid Shaheed on there?
I don't think so.
Should be.
I'm going through. Still going through. Just looking for the next one. I believe it's going to be Puka Nacua at 63.
Whoa.
A little lower than I thought he'd be on this list. Again, this is the top 100 players in the NFL. This is not an easy list to make. Jalen Johnson, former Ute All-American, number 71. Garrett Bowles, number 74.
That's probably low for him.
You could argue, yeah.
You could put him up a lot higher.
You can make arguments for a lot of these guys. This is a tough list to make. I'll be fair to Mr. Prisco. This is not easy to do.
He probably didn't even have he forgot Jalen Hurts, and they go, you got to put him somewhere. Oh, I don't know. Where do we have an opening? 52? All right, put him there.
Jordan Love at 92.
Oh, boy.
So there you go. Those are the local players that made the top 100.
Okay.
Of Pete Prisco's list of the 100 best players in the NFL.
All right, there you go. Who's number 100? Who's the
Christian Benford.
Oh, of course.
Buffalo Bills cornerback. Just one spot behind Jalen Ramsey.
Jalen Ramsey, 99. How the mighty have fallen. All right. We'll take the break here. We'll come back. We've got more to go. When we return, we've got our best and worst. Don't want to miss that. If you have a product that you're passionate about, if you've got a business you want to highlight, we want to endorse that product and that business. It's simple. All you have to do is text JJ to 57500. That's JJ to 57500, and the sales staff is going to take care of the rest. That's JJ to 57500. Let us feature you on our program, and a bunch of people will hear it, and then they'll start jumping on board with your product or your business. Let's go. JJ to 57500. We'll come back. Like I said, best and worst is next, right around the corner. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Wrapping up the hour with our picks for the best and worst moments on today's show. As JJ and Alex want to hear your best and worst of the day.
Hey, man, I play the bass. I've got 3 guys who play the trumpet. I think we can figure something out.
And this is what we come up with. You're not an Aquabats fan?
No, this is okay. This definitely has a vibe.
Super rad, pizza party.
This feels very much like it's the front end of like the better. It feels a little bit more punky than.
I got a lot of good memories attached to this band. Been to several of their concerts.
See, that's the thing.
Always a good time.
I can't.
Just fun.
I can't help that you're blinded by the memory of when you were dating in college and how amazing it was while you're listening to ska, kissing girls down in Orem. I get it.
Did your kids watch the Aquabat Super Show? Did Alex watch the Aquabat Super Show when you were younger?
I don't remember. I mean, I remember what it was, but definitely my kids did not watch it.
It was popular among kids about 13, 14 years ago.
Okay. Sounds familiar. Let me see here. Yeah, the power of memories. They'll make you like stupid music. That's for sure.
Glad I got to make you listen to ska for an entire show.
Dude. We got a full ska day under our belt.
We were skanking all afternoon here.
Now
JJ and Alex.
Now we've gotten to a weird spot. Tune in to JJ and Alex.
Skanking the afternoon
That's what
away.
We need to get.
We only have 3 minutes left to skank.
I know. We got to get like the KSL TV voice to come in. And JJ and Alex today at 5:57, skanking their way through ska music. Tonight at 10. And then Mike Hedrick's serious face. What skanking has done to this program? Is that what it is?
Can skanking get us fired?
I don't know.
It's the type of dance you do when you're listening to ska music.
I'm sure it is.
See?
I'm sure it is.
Lloyd says skanking will get you fired, so I'm going to stay right here in my seat.
I'm going to make a.
Because I've got 2.5 minutes left of this show.
I'm going to make you a ska T-shirt. When it's Ska Day 2026 next year, I'm going to get you a T-shirt that says "Skanking ain't easy." All right.
Why can't we make this a quarterly event?
Oh gosh. All right.
I got a lot more on the list.
Best and worst brought to you by the Doug Smith family of dealerships: Dodge, Ram, Chevy, Kia, Subaru. And now, of course, Mitsubishi in American Fork. American Fork, Spanish Fork, and now in Linden, where you can find the Doug Smith family of dealerships. Nobody knows cars like Doug. The best is Shohei Ohtani goes out and starts immediately throwing 100 miles an hour, wowing people with a 99-mile-an-hour sinker, by the way. 99-mile-an-hour sinker. All right? And what does that do for you? It's 2 years. By the way, it had been 2 years since we'd seen Shohei pitching in a real game. He leads the majors in home runs. Pass up my guy. Big dumper. And then and he is now throwing 100 miles an hour on the mound. I'm starting to lean the direction of the game needs this guy a long time. Maybe we pick one. Does that mean? Am I selfish? I'm not a Doyers fan, but I am thinking that maybe trying to do it all is a bit much. I don't know. We're witnessing history, so who cares about his shoulder? I'm over it now. There we go. So 100 miles an hour. By the way, apparently AJ DeBonsa had a phenomenal training sesh with the Team USA U19 team. Why wouldn't he? Best player in the country. Everything that he's done, JJ, that's been, these moments of him getting ready to show up on campus at BYU and start to drill down into practices, he's looked phenomenal.
Oh, the videos. You just go on Twitter, you'll find the DeBonsa video. He had a move today. Like he made a move on the 3-point line, one dribble, and packed it. Like he's a freak. And
he's long, too.
So you get a room full of alphas that he's in with the under 19. He's the alpha of the alphas.
That's crazy.
He's that good.
Yeah, so this afternoon, sources are saying that they are confirming that it's a strained right calf for Tyrese Halliburton, according to Shams. So he aggravated the calf injury in the first quarter.
I hate this.
And what we're talking about is the guy probably missing game.
He's been so
6,
phenomenal.
Game 6.
He's been a star in this postseason, getting the Pacers to a place where they've never been. And for him to possibly miss the rest of this series because of this just sucks.
It's a bummer. All right, we've got more to go around the corner. You don't want to miss any of it. So stay here, stay dialed in. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.